This Maynard was in the Navy, and here he is meeting Jack Reed and Maddie and their daughter Nancy, good friends of ours who lived in California, and he had leave from San Diego. And well, here we are at Yancey's in Los Angeles. Hugh and Eleanor Yancey, dear friends too. And Maynard used to come up from San Diego and stay at their home. They were really good to him while he was down there. Hugh and Eleanor, bless their hearts. They both went down in a ship, in an airplane, off the coast of Alaska. Oh no, it was farther north than that. This is Beth Ann in her graduation dress when she graduated from Granite High School. A big time for her. And I think she'd gone out a few times with Charles then, but he was in the Navy at the time too. Here's Maynard on his horse Freckles. Freckles was a good old gentle horse. Anybody could ride him. And Maynard had a lot of fun with him. He used to deliver papers with the horse, and the horse learned the route so well that when Maynard went in the Navy, he gave the horse to Jim Clayton. And Jim Clayton then delivered papers. And one day Jim was sick and couldn't go, so his father, Ernest, took the horse and went out and delivered the papers, and he said he put a paper in every mailbox where the horse stopped, and he got them all right but two. Marge with her favorite horse, Edgemount Charm. She rode in many horse shows riding Edgemount Charm and won a lot of blue ribbons and silver goblets as prizes. Beth Ann with her little Welsh pony, Little Miss Muffet. She's holding a silver goblet and a blue ribbon that she won in the horse shows. And later on she rode a full-size horse, Tony Hightone, in the horse shows, and every time she would win a blue ribbon on Tony Hightone. She was a good rider, and Tony was a good horse. Stan then inherited Little Miss Muffet, and here he is with the ribbon he won in the first show he ever entered. He won a first prize when he was about 6 years old. Marge and Bill on their wedding day with Maynard. This is at Marge and Bill's wedding reception. On the left is the Sorensen family with Grandma and Grandpa Sorensen at the back and Grandma Melville. On the right is the Cannon family. And this is the little car they had, and they drove to Chicago in this car on their honeymoon. Bill went back on business and they made a honeymoon out of it. Bill and Marge arrived at home and getting ready for their reception in the evening. Here's Bill with his brother Ted, who was best man. Well, I think Bill looks so much like Mike, or Mike looks like Bill really. And here come the bridesmaids down the stairway. Oh, I've forgotten some of their names. And here's Beth Ann and Marge. This is the tea we had announcing Beth Ann's forthcoming marriage to Charles MacDonald. The centerpiece is a pair on skis. Ethel is the first one, then Marge, then Eleanor Yancey, her daughter Eleanor Marie, Beth Ann, and Joan Yancey holding baby Michael Cannon. This is Beth Ann the day of her wedding, and that's either a wedding bell with some flowers or the top off the wedding cake. I don't remember which. This is the wedding picture of Charles and Beth Ann. It includes his mother, Luella MacDonald, his brother, Frank, who was his best man, his two sisters, Mary Ellen and Nancy. Also, there's our family and grandmother Melville and grandmother Sorensen. This picture is taken of Maynard and Noni on their wedding day. Here we have the wedding party of Stan and Patty Thomas in front of the church just after they had been married. Oh, here's Marge and Bill when they were on their first mission in Hawaii. They were living in a little house next door to the church. This is their little home. And when I came down at the time Mike was to be born, I lived in a new home Afun Kamoaha had built across the street. Oh, I had a great time down in Hawaii. Everybody entertained for Marge and had a baby shower for her, and they were all so kind to me. I really had a great time down there. Here's Afun Kamoaha. Bless her heart, she was the most generous person in the world. She had just built this new little home and insisted that I stay there instead of at the hotel. And every day she'd bring me flowers or pineapple juice or something good to eat. Oh, here's little baby Michael at 1 week old. That was really exciting, our first grandchild. Cute little guy. And here's Marge bringing him out in front of the home they moved to after he was born. Oh, here's Bill holding the baby. He was a proud father, proud mother, and a proud grandmother. As soon as he was born, I phoned home to tell everybody about our first grandchild. Oh, here's a year and a half later. Michael is riding a little horse that was the favorite of all our grandchildren. That lasted for years and years. Oh, it bucked him off. There he goes again. Oh, Michael used to go down and watch his grandfather milk the cows, and now he thinks he's going to get some milk from the horse. He wasn't very successful, but he used to watch his grandfather milk, and then Grandpa would squirt some warm milk into his mouth. Well, he was a precious little grandchild, but no more precious than the last great-grandchild we've had. Every one of them is special and different. Oh, this is the day baby Ramona was christened. Charles and Beth Ann had been to church. Here comes Maynard and Noni and Marge and Horace. And here's Maynard and Noni with the baby Ramona. Here we have baby Ann is waving. She's on Beth Ann's lap. There's Ramona and Maynard and Scott on the right. And then Charles is holding Marcy, but we can hardly see her. There she is. Here's Wendy climbing up the slide, being caught by Grandma. That's Wendy. Oh, there's David. And who's this coming up?
What?
That looks like that's Mike. Oh, he's grown up. Is that Mark? Oh, here's Lane. He's got something to play with. Oh, here is Sugar House Centennial in 1954. They had a big parade and a big to-do out in Sugar House. Oh, this is interesting. Pop had a lot to do with this. He furnished these carts, and that's the old hearse from the Pioneer Village. And that's a float he put in the parade. In fact, 3/4 of the parade was his. Here is Marge and Bill, Michael, David, Lane, and Wendy. Hi. This is Charles and Beth Ann with Marcy and Ann. Here's Ramona as a baby. Cute little girl. Oh, here's Marcy joined. Oh, she's trying to comb Ramona's hair. Marcy wouldn't sit still. There's Marcy sliding down the slope of the lawn. Oh, they love to roll down that slope. Now, this is Ann, isn't it? Yes, this is baby Ann. Oh, she's a cute little girl. We've backed up a little bit. We showed her earlier when she was bigger. And here's another picture of Ann. Oh, and here's the little train we had out there one summer with all the grandchildren in it. That's David at the back, it looks like. Here they come. Oh, Grandpa's driving it. Oh. Well, they're going by so fast I can't tell who they are. But anyway, they had fun that day. Must have been the 4th of July. Oh, it's Easter, and Wendy has her little Easter basket. And the Easter bunny had been out and hidden Easter eggs all around the yard, and the children are hunting for them. Michael and David. I can't tell who they all are. Lane, I guess. That's Lane, isn't it? Oh, anyway, we had a great time on Easter. And the Easter bunny would bring things. That's Bill and Marge, David, Ann, and Marcy. I guess, oh, Mark wasn't born yet. Oh, here's Scott in his Easter clothing. Hi, Scott. Here's Ramona in her Easter dress, and here's baby Jan. Cute, another cute little grandchild. All of them just precious. That must have been Scott who gave her a kiss. Oh, this is Christmas we held down in the Pioneer Village, in the big room upstairs. The house was not big enough to hold them all. Here's Marcy and Ann, and there's little Mark. Turn around, Mark, so we can see you. And there's Beth Ann and Charles with Mark, bringing their gifts and putting them under the Christmas tree. There's the family. They're growing up. Here's Noni with the baby Barbara. There's Ramona. And this is Kent and Ramona again. No, that's Jan sitting down. And there's Scott and Maynard carrying baby Howard. There we got them when they were little. A cute family. Oh, now they're performing. This is Ramona. There's Jan and Ramona and Kent performing on the stage. And there's Mark and Kent, Marcy, and David and Wendy. Now, who's that little one in the high chair? Oh, that looks like Bob Cannon, and with a Mrs. Santa Claus. Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus used to come over every Christmas for many years. There's Lane, Scott, Jan, Wendy, and Ann in front. And they'd all get up on the stage and sing their songs and perform little things. It was fun. There's Santa Claus, and Mike and David were sitting beside him. We'll just watch the children. That's Lane. Well, Santa Claus is talking to the children and passing out the presents. And there's Jan down in front. And Ramona with little Barbara. No, Noni with Barbara. Bill and his family. And that's Bob in the high chair, I believe. Mike and David and Marge. Lane with a football outfit on. Wendy. Well, here I am with Horace in front of the Christmas tree. These are some things, some gifts that I received, or that we received. And this is an outfit that Horace gave me, some red slacks, red velvet slacks, and a white top. Boy, that was in the days before the women started wearing many slacks. So I was ahead of my time, for once. There are the three Cannon boys entertaining us with the piano music. Or is it organ? I guess it's the organ. Here we are at Disneyland. The whole family went down to Disneyland and spent about a week down there visiting, taking in the sights. And this is the motel where we were staying, and the children loved the pool. Each one had to show off his diving abilities and swimming. You'll just have to look at them and identify each one yourself. But you're all on there somewhere. Well, there they are floating around in the pool. Mike is the one who really could dive. There I am with a bathing cap on, and Maynard with Jan, is it? Yeah. And that's Jan again, I think. Here's Beth Ann and Marge having a suntan. This is Anne in the tube. And here's Marcy showing off her diving abilities. And she can swim too. 3 or 4 of the older ones can swim. And Marcy's going to show how she swims. And there's Mike, no, it's David, I guess, diving and swimming. And here, well, here's the family coming for something. Oh, we're going to have a ride on the train that circles Disneyland. Everybody's boarding. Beth Ann, Charles, Marge, Bill, Horace. Finally, I come on. And these are some of the rides. We tried everything. I remember we took some of the children, took all of them, I guess, on what was to be a ride like a ride in space. And when they closed the doors and the engines began to rattle, Anne jumped up and said, "I'm getting out of here." And I had to run after her. She thought we were really going to take up into space, and she wasn't going to sit there and go through that. She was frightened to death, but I got her back in. And then we lost Kent. There's Anne and Beth Ann. Kent was 2 years old, and we hunted for about half an hour to find him, and finally we spotted him on the merry-go-round. We went over there, and the man said he'd had him riding on the merry-go-round for about half an hour, and the poor little kid, when he got off, he was so dizzy he could hardly walk. And this is the Magic Kingdom, it looks like. And there they are in the whirling saucers. Well, it looks like they're going for a boat ride here. Yes. And there they are up on riding the elephants up in the air. And here's the boat ride. And going into the Tunnel of Love and the train. Well, it was a great time. We had a lot of fun. Disneyland was fairly new then. It had only been open a year or two. And it was really a novelty. Everybody was talking about it. There's Anne Oh, here am I. Here's Noni and Maynard and their family. Here we are down at the beach. It's the first time any of the children have ever seen the ocean. And they really love playing in the sand and the surf. There's Michael making a sand castle. Oh, that was a great time. They loved the beach. They hated to leave there. That was a fun trip. We had a wonderful time. That looks like Wendy. Here am I with our 6 granddaughters, dressed in the costumes that we wore in the parade, in all the 24th of July parades for 30 years. There is in front Barbara and Jan, and in the rear is Ramona, Wendy, I, with Ann and Marcy. And every year, they would dress up in these red gingham dresses and sunbonnets and ride in the Pioneer Day Parade. And as each girl grew older, we would have another dress made to fit her and pass them on down to the younger ones. And the boys rode in the parade with us. They rode in cowboy outfits and pioneer outfits every year for 30 years. And here is where the girls rode in this wagon, the 100-year-old Johnston's Army wagon, which came across the plains. And we and the children rode in that or on some kind of a float every year. This was a famous old wagon. Lane is standing down by the wheel, and I think that is the year he rode on the back of one of the oxen down the parade route. And that was a fun time for all of us. Here's March and Bill and their family taken at a Christmas party. Charles and Beth Ann's family taken at the same time, about 1957. Maynard and Noni with their family. And Stan. A view of Pioneer Village, which Pop established, where the grandchildren had lots of fun. We all did. Our golden wedding anniversary with the family members who were able to be there at the time. Maynard and his 6 Eagle Scout sons, which equaled the United States record at the time. This picture was taken on my greatest birthday party, a surprise when I turned 80. When I arrived at Cannon's, a 5-piece band from a junior high started everything off with a happy birthday, and everyone lined up carrying balloons and banners and marched down the street and back. Neighbors came out to see what was going on. We had a wonderful dinner provided by the family, many dear tributes, and a great program with a beautiful scrapbook. It was a highlight in my life, and I am so grateful to my beloved family. We discontinued taking movies about 20 years previous to this group picture, so none of the great-grandchildren are included in the tape, and only a few of the other grandchildren. So here are their names. Seated in front, Wendy, her boyfriend. Kneeling back of him is Brad. Then seated, Doug. Standing back of him is Victoria. Seated with Mary is Megan. Natalie with a blue balloon. lane back of him, and back of him is Matthew. Seated is Molly Sonny. Back of her and partly behind a banner is Jacob. Bill kneeling with a drum is Lincoln. Standing behind him, Max. Seated is Alex, Tony, Marcy, and April. Standing on the second row is Marge, Barbara holding Joseph, Jan with little Noni, Judy with Rachel, Bob, Ethel, Julie with Lindsay, Beth Ann, Georgia, Marilee, Noni, Mike, and Patty. Oh. On the back row is Maynard holding Richard, Charles with Jenny on his shoulders, Kent, Danny, Victor, Cindy, Ramona, Craig, Scott, Pat, Stephen, Sharon, and Mark. This is Christmas 1984 at my home with all the family who were in town. There's Ann and Laura on the couch, and Sharon, and great-grandchildren on the floor. We had wall-to-wall babies.
That's not fair to be so close. You don't realize he's good too. Oh, boy.
Yay! Boys wanted to know about various magical tricks. Now, if you watch carefully, you can, and through magic, he ends up with one piece. A little ball like this before your show.
Can't watch him. You don't watch. Rudolph's out having fun and playing with the other reindeer. It used to be that they never let Rudolph play with the other reindeer, but now they do. Then you know Santa took off Rudolph's bells.
They're Rudolph?
Yes, hold them.
Oh.
Do you know why Santa had them? Stinkers, yes. Do you know why? Listen to this. Was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the window with care. He'd worn them for weeks, and they needed the air. My goodness. You tell Santa what you want for Christmas? A dolly? You know that Santa's special dollies? Let me see if I can get you right up here.
Peter.
Will you give your dolly a little squeeze like this?
Peter.
Joseph, can you tell Santa what you want for Christmas?
Peter. Come here, Peter. Come here. Sit down. Santa calls you. Open it up.
I can't wait to see.
Who's your dad?
What'd you do? There's a little baby. You want to hold this for just a minute?
Careful, yes,
Let me tell you what I know will be best for you. All right, Merry Christmas to you. Oh, here's to Lindsay. Lindsay? Oh, my goodness. I'm so happy to see you. I sure have good news.
More than 300 Utahns who saw Halley's Comet 75 years ago gathered at the Hotel Utah today as guests of the Hansen Planetarium. All of the participants are members of the 1910 Halley's Comet Club. The oldest member of the club is 329-year-old Dr. Edmund Halley, the astronomer after whom the comet is named. This is quite obviously a Halley ringer. The planetarium contacted each of the club members to get recollections of the comet.
I remember my father taking me outside on the sidewalk and showing me this beautiful comet and telling me that it would come again in 1985, and I wonder if I'll live to see that. And I thought, oh, I don't believe I'll live that long. I'm greatly indebted to Marcy and David Andrews, who worked countless hours over a period of more than a year to produce this tape, and also to Doug and Danny, who helped me splice and cut the films, splice them, and decide what we should use. They were all a great help in producing this wonderful film.